fell into and drowned in pit latrines. Siatamba was just 6 years old. Lumka was just 5 years old at the time of her death. Most recently, and although not directly relevant to the issue, another young life was tragically cut short when a 3-year-old fell into and drowned in a pit latrine at an unregistered early childhood development center in the KwaZulu-Natal province on the 6th of September 2021. The regulations relating to minimum uniform norms and standards for public school infrastructure were promulgated, as I said, in November 2013, and requires the eradication of pit latrines. This is government's own target, set way back in 2013. In 2014, through its report entitled "The Right to Access Sufficient Water and Decent Sanitation," the Commission cautioned that a lack of access to sanitation violates several basic human rights, including the right to dignity, education, and offends the right to a safe and healthy environment. Following the publication of this report, the Commission held several meetings with the National Department of Basic Education, during which the Commission highlighted the provisioning of water and sanitation to schools as an urgent matter. The National Department committed itself to prioritize and oversee access to potable water and sanitation by the end of 2014-2015. However, education being a concurrent function between national and provincial governments, it rests with the provinces to ensure that budgets are aligned to this priority. Initially, pursuant to the outbreak of COVID-19 and the hard lockdown during which schools were closed, the Commission wrote to all MECs on the 14th of August 2020, requesting them to provide the Commission with a list of all schools which will not have some form of water and sanitation by the time learners return to school on the 24th of August 2020. This correspondence was followed by more correspondence relating to the matter in November and December 2020, and again in February 2021. Separately, the Commission engaged the National Department of Education on the 17th of November 2020, bringing to the attention of the department and seeking the intervention of the department in regard to the minimum norms. The Commission was concerned about the cooperation it received from the provincial departments of education in respect to their compliance to the minimum uniform norms and standards for public school infrastructure. We were afforded inadequate, non-specific responses by some provinces. And therefore, on the 14th of May 2021, the Commission wrote to all the MECs of education asking that they provide the Commission with a comprehensive status of the water and sanitation infrastructure in their respective provinces as of the 14th of May 2021. The Commission stated that the required information should cover the types of water and sanitation infrastructure available in each school within the province, in line with regulations 11-12 of the norms and standards for public school infrastructure. According to the responses from the provincial departments of education, the following is apparent. 983 schools in KwaZulu-Natal are reliant on pit latrines. 9 schools are without water. 44 schools have no form of sanitation. 19 schools use pit latrines in the Northwest Province. In the Limpopo Province, 113 schools are without water. In Mpumalanga, 59 schools are using pit latrines. 199 schools are without water, and 2,236 schools are using pit latrines in the Eastern Cape Province. 10 schools are without water, and 5 schools do not have any form of sanitation in the Free State Province. Upon receipt of the above-mentioned information, the Commission put 6 provincial MECs for education on terms concerning water and sanitation deficiencies at schools in their provinces. The letters, dated the 28th of September 2021, required detailed action plans with strict time frames, tangible measures to overcome the health and physical risks to which learners, educators, and administrators are exposed. The action plans needed to include the covering up and securing of pit latrines which pose a safety risk to learners. The Commission had also informed the MECs that it will monitor their responses attentively and take the necessary action, including litigation if necessary. Following the aforementioned tragic death of Michael Komape, the Civil Society Organization Section 27 assisted his family to obtain redress for the pain and suffering they had endured. As a corollary to the relief sought, for the family, it was also sought to prevent a recurrence of the tragic and avoidable loss of life. A structural interdict which provided for oversight by the High Court was sought and granted. In early September 2021, the Limpopo Education Department was ordered to revise a plan previously submitted to the High Court so that timeframes and prioritization of schools for the eradication of pit latrines could be achieved in a shorter time period than proposed by the department. While the court order in the Komape matter will address the problem of pit latrines in the Limpopo province, the problem in other provinces remains unaddressed. Accordingly, the Commission believes that the time has come for this level of action to ensure schools are places of safety for all children in South Africa. The Commission considers that it is in the interest of protecting the rights to life, dignity, quality education, and in the best interests of the children for it to obtain a similar structural interdict to the one granted by the High Court in Limpopo for all provinces where there are still schools with pit latrines. This hopefully will force the provinces to prioritize the eradication of pit latrines in schools and submit detailed plans towards attaining this objective. Such an interdict will then enable the Commission and other stakeholders to monitor the implementation and execution of such plans. It is clear from the responses received and the current numbers of schools which still have pit latrines that little has been done to address the problem since the promulgation of the norms and standards in 2013. As pointed out by the High Court in Limpopo in the Komape matter, the proposed plan to make use of the latest date mentioned in the norms and standards being 2031 for the eradication of pit latrines does not comply with either the norms and standards themselves nor with the concept of reasonableness for the realization of access to basic education. Every day, thousands of children are denied their right to dignity in schools across the country. By law, children between the ages of 7 and 15 are required to attend school. The state has made exercising the right to basic education compulsory, but failed to ensure that all children are able to do so in safety and in dignity. The dire threat faced by children on a daily basis calls for urgent and decisive action. The threat to life and the daily assault on the dignity of children requires that the matter be approached in this strategic manner designed to achieve the desired outcome of safe schools where human rights are respected and the best interests of children is the yardstick. This matter has a gender perspective too. Adolescent girl learners who are menstruating are forced to miss school every month due to the lack of privacy, lack of adequate hygienic facilities, and the lack of water. Female teachers are also thus impacted. The Commission, having tried engagement with the relevant authorities, sees no other option but to litigate in this regard. as no other strategy is likely to produce the desired result, namely measurable progress towards the eradication of pit latrines in all schools and the provision of an acceptable form of sanitation in those schools currently offering none. The relief which the Commission will seek in this litigation will include an order that each of the provincial departments that have identified schools which have either only pit latrines or no available sanitation technology provide the Court and the Commission with, amongst others, costed work plans with targets in relation to each school that includes details of the nature and extent of the installations or upgrades required for each school and the timelines for completion of the identified targets. The timelines should take into account the urgent need to provide access to water and adequate sanitation to all schools, and where necessary, a need to put in place temporary measures until permanent installations are completed. Details regarding budgetary allocations or reallocations to be made available for the installation and upgrade of all necessary facilities in accordance with the plans, or where such allocation is found to be insufficient to ensure progressive increments to the budget. Details of maintenance plans for the upkeep of water and sanitation facilities. An order that the Commission and the Court be provided with reports on a monthly, alternatively quarterly basis on progress made with the implementation of the action plan according to the timelines mentioned in the plan, coupled with the necessary evidence of progressive implementation of the plan in accordance with the timelines set forward therein. While the Commission intends to bring litigation in this regard in 2022, it is hoped that in prioritizing their budgets for next year, the relevant provincial executive committees will take note of the intention of the Commission and begin the process of prioritization of this matter. With those words, I thank you all for your presence and hand over back to Gashwal.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Very much appreciated. And I think, speaking on my own behalf, I'm very pleased that we're embarking on this action, because I think it will have a massive impact on so many rights across the board. This gives us an opportunity then to open up for questions and answers. What I will ask is that you please use the function to raise your hand, and then what I will do is I will at that stage obviously admit you or give you an opportunity to ask your question. You just use the function to raise your hand, and then with that, what I will then do is I will then ensure that you are able to switch on your camera as well as your microphone to be able to pose your questions. I'll take 3 questions at a time, and then after that we'll open up for another round of questions. I don't see any hands at this stage, but I will request that you use this opportunity to pose your questions, and then we can take it from there. Thanks.
I think your dog might have a question there.
I'm so sorry about that. Unfortunately, I think the wonders of working from home, there's an ice cream truck that passes here every now and again, and unfortunately he has the habit of howling at the ice cream truck. I have no idea why he does that. I'll try to keep him quiet.
Buy him an ice cream, Gashwal.
Yeah, no, it seems that that might be a solution. He's worse than the children. That's why I haven't seen any questions. I'm not sure if anyone has any questions or anyone would want to take this any further. Let me try with Jana Breitenbach and see if she is able to raise a hand at least. Yeah, Jana Breitenbach did raise a hand just as I mentioned her name. Jana, just give me a second and I will allow the microphone function for you. Just give me a second. I'm sorry about that. Yes, you're live. Thanks, Yana. You can switch on your mic.
Hi, thanks, Gashwal. Pardon my ignorance, but will the Commission take all the departments individually to the respective high courts in each province of that, of the provinces that you intend to bring the litigation against, and by when? I know you said 2022, but I mean, are we expecting it early January, February, March? Schools start, middle January, so indication as just to when, because obviously the litigation will take time, but I mean, the sooner the better, I think, in this case.
Thanks for your question there, Yana. Any other questions? All that you have to do is you just use the hand raising function. All that you do is you'll see that there are 3 little dots that indicate more actions. If you do not see it immediately, and then you just click on that and you raise your hand. I see Nicola is asking a question. Nicola, just give me a second so I can just enable your microphone there. Yes, you're live, Nicola.
Is my mic on? I'm unmuted, yes.
Yes, we can hear you, yeah.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Nicola Daniels from the Cape Times. What I wanted to know was, I came a little late, so I'm not sure if this was mentioned, but what provinces have been identified, especially like in the Western Cape? Have there been any schools identified?
Thanks for your question there, Nicola. Any other questions?
And then just also, Gasha, would it be possible to send the speaking notes to us?
We will upload it on the website after this briefing.
Okay, thank you so much. That's it for now.
Any other questions? And just while we're on that, this is a question that gets asked often around the speaking notes, being made available. So what you do is you go onto the website, sahrc.org.za. You go under the media section, and what you will see is you'll see that there's a tab. There's a tab called media, and then below that tab, as you scroll down the menu option, you will see the second option is media statements. That's where you will find it. So it's sahrc.org.za. You look for the media tab, and then you look for the second menu option, which is media statements, and that's where you will find it. Okay. Okay, I think then we can refer to Commissioner Gaum. Commissioner, if you will take, and as well as the Deputy Chair, if you can just respond to these questions posed, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Gashwal. As to the specific provinces concerned that would be involved in this litigation, or that the Commission will make applications in respect of, is Mpumalanga, Northwest, Free State, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Eastern Cape. In respect of Limpopo, we will take further legal advice on that particular matter, as there is a structural interdict in place at the moment, the one that Section 27 got from the court in that province. So we will consider whether that interdict goes far enough to cover the kind of relief that we would like to seek, including the matter of safeguarding and covering up unsafe pit latrines, for example. Our letter of May 2021 was a very specific letter in which we requested all the provinces in the country, all the MSCs, to provide us information in respect of every single school as far as the type of water and sanitation in those schools, what the situation is with regard to that, according to the categories outlined in the norms and standards for public school infrastructure. And therefore we have very specific information pertaining to each and every school. So our structural interdict will endeavor then to have a clear plan in place, as well as timelines in respect of every single school identified by the provinces themselves. So in that respect as well, we might want to include Limpopo, but we will take further specific advice on that matter. With regard to the question whether we will now bring 5 or 6 different applications in different provinces, or whether it would be possible to bring one application, I mean, that also goes to the legal question as to whether we would be able perhaps to approach the Constitutional Court directly. That is another matter that we will take advice on as we prepare the application or applications. We are currently in the process of briefing attorneys who will then brief counsel. So we are busy with that procurement process, and as soon as that is done, we will make sure that the matter reaches the court or different courts as soon as possible next year. I think, yeah, I think that more or less answers all the questions, including when the litigation will be brought. Thank you, Gash.
Yes, indeed. I think you've covered everything. This is the second round of questions. Any further questions? I hope by now that most of us have been able to figure out how to use the hand-raising function. I don't see any further hands. So with that, I take it that we can close the media briefing. I think my advice at this stage is just a couple of reminders, is to keep an eye out on the Commission's website, sahrc.org.za, for the speaking notes, which will be uploaded soon after this event. Give us a couple of minutes to get that up on the website, of course, and then you'll be able to access it there. But second to that is also to obviously keep an eye out on news and developments from the South African Human Rights Commission. As you're well aware, and I presume that everyone that's present here today is, as members of the media, is present due to the media statements that we circulate. Again, I can only echo what the Deputy Chair has said. The work of the media in publicizing and obviously popularizing the work of the South African Human Rights Commission, but also helping people understand how it is that they can assert their rights, really goes a long way in ensuring that the Commission is able to carry out one of its legs of its constitutional mandate, being the promotion of human rights. So we thank you for your efforts throughout the course of the year and all the assistance that you've given us. We wish you obviously a safe and happy festive break and festive season, and all the best until next year, where we will be able to then continue with these media briefings and keep you abreast of the work that the Commission is doing. I'm pretty sure that there's many things that we've announced thus far that you're keeping a close eye on and that you will be trying to follow very closely. Thank you so much. And unless Deputy Chair, I'm just checking with you if there's any final words from your side, and Commissioner Gaum, if there's anything else that you would like to say before we officially close this media briefing.
Thank you, Gashwal. Just to wish everybody well over the festive season, blessed time, peaceful time, and be safe, everybody.
Thank you.
And nothing from my side except to echo the good wishes of the Deputy Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All the best, and thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you, Gashwal.
Pleasure.
Thank you.